So in this book, you kind of uncovered this similar theme on people who felt like they were stuck in this simulation.
Yeah.
So there was a quote in there. I want to read it to you. Life felt unreal, full of false rewards, empty accomplishments, therapeutic talk, fake experiences, all curated to pass the time as painlessly as possible. I mean, does life feel like this for so many people?
Really a lot, especially for young adults. I teach graduate students at the Harvard Business School, you know, and a lot of people who watch us here in Bloomberg, they went to the Harvard Business School, and they have an experience. They remember their time as one of real life and real relationships, and a lot of our students today are not having that experience, and the reason is because their lives are mediated by technology. When you put technology between you and the rest of the world, what happens is you get a simulated life. What I show in this book, what I show in this research is that simulation. You wake up and you look at your phone and you scroll while you eat breakfast, you go to work on Zoom, you date online, you game after work, whatever it happens to be. The truth is that you lose the sense of real life. And what that does is it changes the functioning of your brain, and you lose the most important thing in life, which is the understanding of the meaning of your life. I talk about the science behind that. Most importantly, I talk about how you can fix it.
Is it that they're holding themselves up to false ideals that they're seeing online? Is it that they're dulling their ability to interact in real life because they're so used to seeing it through a screen? Is it all of the above?
It's all of the above, but fundamentally what's going on is that when you're having a real life experience, really complex emotions, which you have when you're with other people, you're using the right hemisphere of your brain, which is the why side of your brain, the meaning side of your brain. When you're on technology, you're using the left side of your brain, which is the what and how to side, the engineering side of your brain. And you can't fool your brain. You can simulate a lot. You can simulate all kinds of experiences, but you can't simulate the meaning of life. And that leads inexorably, when you don't know the meaning of your life, when it feels false, you will become anxious, you will become depressed, you will become lonely, and you probably won't know why. That's why.
You mentioned it earlier. How do you fix it then?
Yeah, the whole point is that you have to live in a way that used to be ordinary and that actually isn't. Now, this is a real addiction that we have. The average American looks at his phone 205 times a day.
I have two phones.
I noticed you have two phones there, but you haven't looked at them the whole time we've been doing this interview, so I want to congratulate you on that.
It's only been like 2.5 minutes, but now I have, so I ruined it.
So,
all right, I'm sorry, continue.
But what happens is that you send your brain activity over to the left hemisphere, and you stop doing the real work of mind wandering and thinking about questions of meaning, questions of mystery, the things that actually matter to us. You can't love somebody on the left side of your brain. You can only love somebody on the right side of your brain. Every time you look at your phone, you jar yourself out of the part that actually brings you happiness, which is obviously a big problem. Now, why did we do it? Is because, you know, we don't like being bored. We want to distract ourselves.
So I was just reading that people are like so boredom averse these days that we're not getting that quiet time in our brain to think about people we love, things we want to do, even the meaning of life.
Yeah, so when you're bored, and by the way, when I mean bored, it's just you're not doing something. Your brain naturally goes into the default mode network. That's what we talk about in the behavioral science world. It's a fancy way of saying that your mind wanders. We call it that because we need tenure and we have to make it fancy. But the truth is that mind wandering is really important for understanding the meaning of life. That's why you get your best ideas in the shower, because the phone isn't in there, for Pete's sake. But if you're looking at your phone all day long, you'll never be bored, but your life will be weirdly boring. You know, if you think back to your great-grandfather, you know, he never came home and said to his wife, your great-grandma, honey, I had a panic attack behind a mule today. And the reason is because his brain was working the way it was supposed to. Yeah. But he was bored a lot behind that mule, but his life wasn't boring. But if I talk to a lot of young people today, and by the way, a lot of people my age too, their life is never boring from moment to moment because they've eradicated the boredom problem, but their life is actually really boring. They don't know what they're scrolling. They don't know what they're doing on the internet. They're just staying distracted. Life is like an airport lounge, and the meaning of your life is the flight that never takes off, and you're just kind of distracting yourself. That's the problem to solve. And you first solve it by trying to eradicate the addiction. You got to break the grip, because this is neurochemically functioning like a substance or behavioral addiction. And then you have to go live like your great-grandpa.
It's a serotonin kick that it gives you?
It's a dopamine.
Dopamine, sorry, I knew that. This is why you have a degree and I do not.
Well, you know, but the neuromodulator is very, very powerful. That mediates all addictions, to be sure. And it's very easy to break, believe it or not. The grip of addictions over you are very easy to break. with certain protocols, not using your phone intensively for the first hour of the day. I mean, you have to. The two of you have to because you're in media. You wake up and you look at the phone and say, what happened to markets, right? But don't scroll. Don't use it to distract yourself. Never use it during meals, which you're telling your kids anyway, and never use it for the last hour before you go to bed. More than anything else, never look at it during the night. And if you do those three things, your relationship will change, and then you're able to start living differently, like good old great-grandpa, which was ordinary for him, but not so much for us.
Well, it's a rule at our table, like at dinner time.
Yeah.
No phones. No phones. That's the thing.
You know the number one predictor of kids using their phones at dinner?
If the parents.
Mom and dad using the phone at dinner.
Of course, setting the wrong example. Can't do that.
Yeah.
Now, how do you think, I'm curious, how do you think AI is going to change the game? I mean, or is that the next book?
Well, no. I mean, it's like people ask me all the time, because I'm a happiness specialist, how will AI affect happiness? And the answer, it depends on how you use it. So the brain is hemispheric. The right side is the why, mystery, meaning, love, and happiness side. The left side is the how-to, the what, the engineering, analysis, and tech side. So AI is the ideal part of the left hemisphere of your brain. It extends the left hemisphere to answer analytic questions for you. But it's horrible for asking questions that matter. The problem is when people try to use it for their right hemisphere. These are the complex problems of love and meaning. And when you ask AI questions about friendship, about love, if you use it as a therapist, you're using it wrong. The way to use AI to get happier is to get rid of all the nonsense tasks, all the quotidian things that bother you, and using the time that you have left over in real life and loving other people. That's how you use your brain correctly.
Are you concerned that that side of the brain that AI helps will become less astute, will start to paralyze itself because people are not forcing themselves to not only not solve complex problems, but really basic things that I feel like you could do? My friends are going, oh, I put it into ChatGPT.
Yeah. Well, we're already seeing brain changes because of technology in general. So
can you see them, like physically see the changes?
Yeah, for sure. So for example, your brain is highly synaptically plastic. In other words, your brain grows in areas that you use for particular tasks, even in after childhood. And for example, you'll find that in the ancient times, London is a very hard city to navigate. Taxi drivers in London before the onset of GPS actually had more developed, physically developed parts of their brains for navigation, and now they don't because they're using GPS. So you will see synaptic changes in the brain. However, we'll learn new skills. I'm not worried about it. It's what it comes down to. My dad was a professional mathematician. He was a math professor, and he said, in my day, we would evaluate a logarithm manually, and you kids just plug it into a calculator. It's like, yeah, Dad, but we're doing other stuff. That's what it comes down to. The problem is when you atrophy on the right, and that's what's happening today. When you don't use the right side of your brain, when you don't ask the questions of complexity and meaning and mystery, then you will become depressed and anxious and lonely, and that's where we are today.
Is it also that AI is not going to challenge you? You know, there's this fallacy sometimes that like the easier thing is going to make you happier, but that's not always the case.
Well, that's absolutely true, but that actually speaks to another big problem of meaning. Challenge and hardship is central to the meaning of life. When you suffer, that's when your right brain is really active. And that's one of the reasons that we have a big problem today where we teach a lot of young people, if you're sad and anxious, that means there's something wrong with you and we have to lower that pain. Well, that's wrong. I mean, that could be a big...
That's part of life.
That isn't... I mean, I tell my students, you know, it's like, you're studying at Harvard. If you're not sad and anxious, you need therapy. And it's an important part of life. And so I have
next recruitment video coming your way from Arthur Brooks.
I have a whole chapter in the book about never wasting your suffering, because when you understand the nature of suffering, how you can grow from suffering, life gets richer and you find the meaning of your life.
Well, are the kids going to be okay? I mean, I have a son who's the age of some of your students, and then I have a daughter who's 18 going on 19, getting ready to go to that. Are they going to be okay when it comes to, you talk about loneliness, I mean, you talk relationships, things like that?
We are losing a generation right now. We absolutely are. The reason I wrote this book is because it's necessary. I wrote this book because I want people to have a way out. This book promises that in 6 ways you can find the meaning of your life in 6 months and change your life. Because I've seen it. I've developed this protocol over the past 5 years with my graduate students at Harvard. And I wanted to get it out into a mass audience because that's actually what we need. Look, we will figure out these problems, but I don't want to lose a generation of people in the meantime, which is why I'm talking about these ways of living alive, fully alive.
If you could give I know we have a lot of advice, and there is a very good book with lots of it in it.
I've read it.
But if you give one piece of advice to our audience, regardless of age, about how to be happy, what would it be?
The number one thing is actually breaking the grip of what's what's breaking your brain, and that's putting down your phone. Not all the time. You don't have to throw it in the ocean and join a monastery unless that's your thing. But the truth is actually in strategic times during the day, when you're neurocognitively programming first thing in the morning, when you're eating your meals, and when you're loving your spouse or partner or dog an hour before you go to bed, just do those things. Just put down the phone.
My dog hates my phone. He actually hits it with his paws.
Oh, yeah. No. They know because they have a very developed...
No, he hits it with his paws.
They have a very developed limbic system. They've developed emotionally in parallel with us. Your dog knows you.
I love that. All right. Arthur Brooks, thank you so much. The book is The Meaning of Your Life, in stores now?
It is.
In stores now.